We're
me a
going
cue.
live for episode 3, and it says we're setting up. So that's the hard part. Is YouTube's so funny because it doesn't give you a countdown like Facebook does. And we are live now, Scott. Go ahead, lead us off.
All right. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the shit show. I am
Yay.
freaking pumped to be on time today. I am a little bit mobile, but I have the three wonderful ladies with me. I'm here. I'm not going to crash the party halfway through like last month, I promise. And man, I'm excited to dive in today's topic. But first, let me go around the room and introduce everybody. So, on my screen, I see one lady, and she is fierce. She is tough, but boy, she is smooth as butter, and that is Amber Ramirez. Amber, where the heck are you today?
Hi. Well, I'm still in Barcelona, so my plans to move are, moving slowly, but they'll be coming. You'll see me somewhere else very soon, hopefully.
I am going to have to look into my hunch. I believe she's actually a spy for the CIA, and she just fronts her time on the shit show. I think that's what the whole deal is. However, next, she can be kind of smart and sassy, fun and bodacious. And you know what? There's a lot of other adjectives I could use to describe her, but she can walk the walk and she can talk the talk. And sometimes it's just exhausting. Jamie Props, how are you doing? I
How the heck do you come up with these things on the fly
Oh
like
my
this?
God.
have no idea.
This
I
is
have no
awesome.
idea. I thought about rehearsing last week on vacation and I just couldn't do it. So, yeah. All right. And last but not least, our fearless leader. And you know what? There's some things that I'd like to say about Morgan, and most of them are really nice. Morgan, she's fun. She's actually very intelligent. She is nothing like her mother. Just kidding. Just kidding. Thank God I love Kelly too. And Morgan has taught me a lot about being punctual. And that's why I showed up early today. So thank you, Morgan. Morgan is also the owner of Get Fit With Me, and that is Morgan Ekovich. And just to kind of complete the intro, I forgot a portion of it. Jamie has a podcast called Anglers Unlimited and owner of a fishing charter business in Anacortes, Washington. Amber is a virtual assistant currently located in Barcelona, and Morgan, obviously, with the Get Fit With Me podcast. I am Scott Zaire, one of the co-hosts on the Shit Show, and today we are going to be talking about in-person versus virtual. And Morgan, it's all you, girl.
Yeah, so I'm really excited because over the last, I don't know, 3 months now, probably, I've started to teach in-person boot camp classes, which is so different from the online. And I feel like there's been a transition of Jamie, you've been doing more in person. Scott, you've been going to, I'm going to call them farmers markets, but I don't know if that's exactly, but like in-person selling of maple syrup. And then Amber, depending on what you're doing, you're probably attending more events or you may be just doing more online. So kind of my thought process through this today was really just go through and figure out what have you guys found that works really well for online events? What works, what doesn't work? Does it work for your business? Or yeah, it could work, but I just don't want to go through the effort and path online. Or are in person really the best way to go about it? So I just think it's interesting with some of the changes that are happening. All of us started off online for the most part. When these businesses started off, whether it was a website or it was a class, that I think we've all migrated into in person. So I kind of wanted to just hear about that process and what works, what doesn't work, what would you absolutely never do again, what was like an epic fail of an in-person or online event that you ran. So my first question is, what's one in-person or online event you've attended or hosted that truly stood out and made it successful or memorable? So it can be one that you've actually done or one that you've attended. And if one comes to mind right away for you, just go ahead and lead. If not, I'll just call you guys out. I think I'm going to call out Jamie. Jamie's been to probably the most events. You knew that was coming.
I know. I'm like, ugh! Okay.
Every 2 weeks, Jamie's roping me into a new event. Hey, we should do this one next time.
Yeah, that's true. I love. So the question was, what is something that stood out as memorable and successful?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Whether it was an event you ran or if it was an event you went to, doesn't matter which category.
Mm. I've attended a lot of events, both virtual and in person. So I have lots of thoughts on this. But since we're talking about in person, the thing that always stands out the most to me at an in-person event, and because I've been to a lot, you go to the event, you're like inspired, you love the thing that you're learning. It's like the energy in the room is awesome. But it's those micro conversations with people in between speakers or during the event when the facilitator kind of forces you to talk. And I am an introvert and I don't like to talk as much. It just, I'm a very much like back of the room. I sit in the back of the room. I'm going to stand awkwardly, like, and all the group exercises. For some reason, I'm nervous about it. Even though I run events, I do the thing. It's silly. I know it's completely silly, but those micro moments of connection with humans that are in the room who definitely have a like-minded, you're in the room for a reason and you attended the thing for a reason, and that connection elevates me. Like, I love the feeling of connecting with attendees who have a shared interest or values and challenge me to think a little bit differently. So I would say things that work at live events are when a facilitator facilitates connection between the attendees more than just a sit and watch passively. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Okay, I have more questions on that, but let's do a roundtable and then we'll come back because I think there's so much to be said. And I think most of the events you go to are business events, but fishing events probably have a different type of feel. So I want to come back around and kind of get into our specific industries rather than just us educating ourselves. So Scott, how about you?
Oh, I think, in person is definitely, I think, the most memorable experience I have business related happened just a couple months ago when I was a contestant for season 22 of The Blocks. And, I give them a lot of credit for the way they ran the program. So forget about the documentary side of things, the TV show side of things. There was an excellent blend of classroom time and what I would call almost forced, like small group time. It was forced. It was small group time, but it was still like in a classroom type setting. And then the social aspect of it, to Jamie's point, the most value probably came out of that. It's like, hey, this is the designated social hangout spot at the event center. Like, we don't even want to see you at any other spot having drinks or talking to people. We want you at this spot. And it was memorable from a lot of different directions. I made a lot of good connections, just like people I can bounce my ideas off. But for Maplewood Sweets, like, my number one goal is maple syrup is made predominantly in the northeastern United States. And it is not easy to find maple syrup on the West Coast. And lo and behold, I met a wonderful woman named Sharon, who is the owner of Wild West Waffles, Waffles Done Right. And she now carries my maple syrup in California. We just sent another big order out to California yesterday. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I mean, those conversations, those micro conversations that Jamie talks about, I didn't know who the heck this lady was, right? And yeah, we got a lot of value out of the class, but the money spent to go to that event, and most any event, is 100% always about the person-to-person connection, which, I say this tongue in cheek, thank God for COVID. It taught us how to use the online platforms. It I mean, Jamie, you are like the mastermind behind like a lot of the stuff that I've been able to do with online events. But boy, we really, I think as a country needed to get back to more in-person stuff because it's just way more effective.
Yeah. And I think that's very true. And I think it's really hard to get those one-on-one conversations in a Zoom room unless they throw you into breakout rooms. During COVID, I did the landmark forum, which I know Jamie's done, and it was the same. And unless they put you in a breakout room, you didn't really get to talk to anybody else. So I think the in-person really allows those one-on-one connections to be made. Amber, how about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I haven't hosted events, so still maybe when I run the show next month, that will be my first time. But I have attended a lot of events too and helped behind the scenes because that's kind of my job. I help people with their master classes and webinars and all these things. So I'm kind of like the behind the scene tech girl, fixing things, sending links and stuff like that. But because I've watched like so many online events, and then I transitioned to more kind of like social outings and more social events in person. I mean, the connection that we do when we are in person, actually seeing other people's like eyes, because sometimes I can like watch the camera and people will think that I'm looking at them, but I'm not. I'm just watching the camera, you know what I mean? So when I have to look into people's eyes and when I get to do that and talk to them like, eye to eye, that connection is something that I really value and I really enjoy doing. So I'm actually very happy that we're doing more in-person things. Each time someone says, yes, I'm going to this event, either like a social, like a party, like with the friends and stuff like that, I think that's really the best way to make like very meaningful connections. I don't say that we don't do them online. I've been doing a lot of connections online lately, and that's actually very fun, and we will talk about that later maybe. But in person, it's just kind of different. So my social outings lately have been, meeting more people here in Barcelona. Also, when I went to Moscow, when I was all these months in Russia, I met so many people there, and it's so different in this case for me because I was learning not only meeting these new people in a new city, new language, like all of this. So I think that the connection that we do, even with these language barriers, cultural barriers, when it's in person, it's way more significant because people are actually seeing your effort into like understanding them, into like doing something with them, not just like watching things on a camera or reading a presentation or something like that. So for me right now, I think that in person has been awesome, has been filling my cup so much over the last months since I started traveling. So yeah, I think that that's very valuable now and very happy that is actually coming together again.
So the biggest benefit for in person is the one-on-one connection. We all said that. So now let's go the other way. What is the biggest
What about
benefit?
you?
I agree with it. Like it's it's the one thing though that I do find it is so much harder to get more stuff done because travel time to the thing, there's the event is no
You get
longer
nothing.
just an event. That right there is my biggest
Yeah.
struggle with in-person events. But as long as I plan accordingly, it all works out. But it's the in-person connection. It's grown my business, going to networking, starting teaching classes. So all of that is the benefits. But I struggle with the time of this and that. And you all of a sudden are in a conversation with someone after the meeting and you're like, you've been here 45 minutes. I have another appointment in 10 minutes. I need to go. It's so hard to Irish goodbye in person when you're when you're stuck with one person, whereas online, internet went down. So that.
Wait, is that what's happening with me? You're just killing the internet feed? No, I'm just kidding.
It's done. So to me, it's the one-on-one connection. But then my struggle with it is the time commitment, because if it's an hour event, I always have to plan for 2 hours, half hour drive time, half hour after, minimum. Whereas online, which we'll go into now, I love that it can, like, even my clients who I talk to, we keep it to a half hour. I can get a lot more done. I feel like I can still connect with them, but I also feel like when I do see them out in person, it adds that extra level of connection that like we didn't have. So my favorite part about online is the efficiency for me to run my business and for me to have the life I want, the efficiency that online brings to that. Yeah, Amber, how about you? What do you see as like the benefits of online? And you can help people all over the world. You're not just like in your small little area. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
that's
probably
what
took that
that's
from you.
yeah, I was going to say yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's okay. That's a very good introduction. So the complete benefit that I found is, for example, I have more clients that I've been working with, and they are not only in the US, they're also in the UK. And I have my friends all over the world as well. I have my friend there in Russia, and I have my friends in Singapore, and I have some other friends in, all the way to Argentina, to Ecuador, to like everywhere, Italy, Germany. And I was like, oh, this is so fun to be able to like send this link to them and they can participate in this, for example. I cannot like, hey, I'm running an event. And then I'm like, okay, but who should I invite? How can I, like, what people can I bring to this event if it is in person? Whether when it's online, I can just send them the link and like, hey, I would love for you to come. So here's the link and just join us. Something that I really enjoy, like, I was so happy. My sister, she was in her job. They made this Pilates club because she works at a wellness center, and yeah, that's her thing, Pilates now. So they made this Pilates club thing class, and it was online. It was an Instagram live that they were doing. And I was like, I'm here, in Spain, and they're still there in Venezuela doing all of these things. And I was like, I can be part of this because there was something deep inside that I was like, I'm missing all of these like milestones and, things that I really wanted to be part of, but at least I can be part of online. So yeah, there's this like always the benefit of being able to connect more people online, which is amazing. It's not the same it is in person because the connection is not the same. Sometimes the internet really fails and then you're just out of it and you can come back and then things happen, life happens, shit show happens. So, but yeah, I really love how all of the businesses that I work with in my own have been thriving way more and faster because of all of these online tools that we have and opportunities, because otherwise we wouldn't be here, to be honest. So
No, I think that's great because you're right. I think each of our businesses thrive in different ways, whether it's in-person events, like Jamie, I know you had a membership and your online event. And I think when we talk about online here, if you could share that, because I think that's really cool on how you've used in-person to help your online. And for me, it's the in-person networking has helped my online business. So I think they help each other out and there's not just one set way to go about it.
Do you want me to talk next? Okay.
Go for it. Doesn't matter. You or Scott. Scott wasn't quite back yet.
Yeah. I actually just ran an online event. So I've always done the same thing. I'm recognizing that like online, I started an online business because of the freedom piece, which is what we all have touched on today. We would not know each other. Like the four of us kind of knew each other a little bit, but not like we know each other because of the ability to go online, and we connect often and we connect deeply and we share each other's like glimpses of life. Like I'm so thankful to have that. And there's so many things that you can do with the online world. Thank you, COVID, just like Scott said. That really have opened up possibility. And I think there is an element of in person though that so I have an online membership teaching people to fish, and COVID, thank you, got all these people willing to go online that I don't think would have done it but otherwise, especially in our community. And we just did an in-person event Friday with fishermen like some of these guys have fished over 50 years and some of them are like brand new to fishing. And the ability for those people to get into a room and not just see them on a screen and kind of have this passive, I'm going to keep my camera off and not talk because it's weird vibe. They know each other now and they talked at every break and we shared some funny stories and connection. And it was like the story behind the person and the conversations that we had in those rooms are going to make our online experiences amazing now. I know our online events, every single one that we have every single month is going to be better attended and more exciting for everyone because we did the in-person. And I think that's the piece of like where Morgan touched on the efficiency. It's hard to do in person. I have another fishing community. They meet every single month in person and it's exhausting. It's a lot of work. And it's just, I find myself not wanting to go because it's so much commitment every month. Whereas if you can blend the two to help people have that real eye to eye, as you said, Amber, connection, but also in an efficient way, you get to know each other better. Like this would not exist if we didn't have the efficiency of it. But I'm so thankful that I've had time to spend both with Scott and Morgan. Amber, not yet. But with Scott and Morgan, we've hung out in person, which is so beautiful to be able to get to know each other in a different capacity like that. So it's all about connection, the whole entire theme.
Yeah. Scott, how about you?
I think pretty much everything else has been covered. So I'm going to say the one thing that I love about online that you can't do in person is I can show up with no pants.
I'm not wearing pants right now. How
Okay.
did you know? Called
Raise
out.
of hands, and be honest. How many of you have taken a Zoom call with no pants on?
I haven't.
Exactly.
Seriously, never.
Exactly.
Seriously, never.
Full free, like totally.
What do you mean never?
Fucking light.
What do you mean never?
I've done like screen record videos, but like a live Zoom call, no, because do you know what I do? I walk away from the camera and we do squats. I don't get to sit the whole time.
Well, okay, but like going back to like create and all that stuff where we're just from the bust up, you're telling me that you're never just hanging it out.
No.
Oh my God. You know, because if I showed up to the farmer's market, for crying out loud, with no pants on, holy shit.
You'd sell a lot of maple syrup, I bet.
You'd get it.
I highly doubt it.
Attention.
But on a serious note, right? I mean, it's obviously like the efficiency of it, the connections, the broadness of it, where you can get just more people from different parts of the world. Yeah, all good stuff, but definitely the big disadvantage of in person is, I don't get to sit in my basement like a weirdo with no pants on. I made that sound way worse than what it actually is.
Do you have pants on right now?
You know what? I probably wouldn't, but I just literally got done getting a camera shoved up my nose at the doctor, so I do have shorts on.
I'm glad we clarified that.
Yep.
I'm glad you guys don't get up and move around now that I know all of this about you. Okay, so one of the things though that I find, and Jamie, when we ran the Create event, that was like 4 years ago now, something like that. Things that come into play with any in-person event, even like me running my group fitness classes and going to farmers market, is time, money, and logistics. There's so many more moving parts. So for people who are like, I've never run an event, I've never gone to an event, or I've never sat up at a farmer's market, I've never hosted anything in person, what would be like a piece of advice that you could give of like, I think we all have something we can probably share, and it doesn't have to be general. It can be really specific. Doesn't matter. But I think a few pieces of advice for running something in person is really helpful to all of us because we are still all learning on what that looks like. And I don't think any of us have it dialed in on, I don't think any of us have it 100% dialed in, and there's always room for growth. So Scott, what's some advice that you have for somebody wanting to run their first in-person event or host something or go to something in person to promote their business?
Oh man. I mean, be open-minded about it, number one. Like, so from like going up, if you're selling a product, right? If your business is a thing like maple syrup, right? Um, or anything where the ability to connect with somebody at one-on-one and tell your story is a big deal. Like, yeah, go do it. Go tell your story. But if you're talking like going to a conference or a learning seminar or something like that, um, boy, I know. So Jamie described it earlier. Like my natural tendency in those settings, believe it or not, people, is to kind of hang back in the opposite corner of Jamie, especially if I don't know her. I wouldn't be in the same corner. Holy crap! But and
Do you have pants on?
prefer I would have pants on. It's in person. It's okay.
All right. Okay.
But prefer to just kind of like, okay, I took it all in. I'll do a little people watching. But you can't. You got to put yourself out there, and that's probably something that online has given people a false sense of reality that they're able to do. Like we see it with bullying, right? With the online bullying, like people are more apt to online bully somebody than they are bullying somebody in person. But the same is true for like events and stuff like that. Like once you have done a few of these Zoom calls, you feel comfortable enough to not even put your underwear on in the morning, just a shirt. However, however, once you get in person, like you have to actually do the thing. You have to actually put yourself out there. Now there's this whole new level of mental block that you have to get over of, right down to the basics. Like, are people going to like me? Are they going to judge me? Are they, you know, and it sucks sometimes. Sometimes you just got to suck it up and deal with it. And hopefully you can deal with it in a constructive way at the end of the day and not be like, I know like some of these conferences I go to, like I like to socialize afterwards, but I don't want to be that one guy that's at the bar at 2:30 with his head down and then shows up late the next day. Like, don't be that person. Um, it's not as bad as you think. I promise you, if you're like sitting on the sidelines listening to this and you're kind of wondering, hey, should I go do this? Should I go do this thing? Maybe it's an in-person um, event where it's talking about personal development or it's for your business. If you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I don't know. I don't know if I should do it. Trust me, it's harder to ride a bicycle than it is to just go have fun for a few days.
Mhm. Amber, are you an introvert?
According to my MBTI test, yes. Like
Do you feel like you
75%.
are? Do you feel like you are?
Actually, I was talking about this with Natalia the other day, and she said something that I think is actually very true, at least for me. I think that I'm reserved when I don't feel comfortable in the setting that I'm in. And so I tend to like close up a little bit. So
Mm.
until I feel comfortable, I'm like an introvert. However, when I'm very comfortable with people in the setting, when I'm having fun, I don't feel like an introvert at all. I talk a lot and I joke around a lot. So I think in my case, it depends on my level of if I'm comfortable and confident in that setting, specific setting, or whatever I am. Because, for example, now that I've been meeting a lot of new people here, sometimes I find myself like shocked about myself because I'm like, wow, I didn't know that I could talk this much or share this many things or feel this comfortable talking with someone that I've just met. So that's actually, yeah, it's been actually very nice to kind of like know that thing, that part of me. So yeah, I will say that I'm an introvert depending on the setting and my level of confidence in that, being comfortable in that setting and all of that. But when as Scott was talking about, sharing yourself in this space with these people that you're meeting, I think that confidence plays a role, like a very big role in this, because if you feel the sense of I don't have anything good to share or I'm not enough, for some reason or for whatever thing that you're sharing, you obviously won't want to talk to anyone and feel rejection or feel judged or criticized or something. But I think like many of the things, fears that we have, they're just all in our heads. Those are very weird stories that we listen in our minds and believe them for some reason. Hopefully, I really hope that people will learn eventually that these are just stories and everyone has those stories in their minds. And when I'm thinking that, hey, I'm going to be, I don't know, criticized for doing this, actually, a lot of people, maybe the one next to me is also thinking the same thing. And we're just there sitting next to each other, not talking to each other, thinking the same thing. So I think that giving that first step is always terrible. Like the fear that you feel is terrible, but it's worth it in the end because you can create a very good connection if you just dare to say hi, and that's it. Just say hi and then see where it goes. If it doesn't flow, it doesn't flow. Some people that they just there's no like energy flowing there and there's nothing happening, that's fine. But some people will actually open up to you and say things and share things and create a connection somehow. So I think that daring and believing in ourselves, that's something that we really have to do a bit more in this world. And I know that it's not as easy, but I think that we really have to try more to do that.
Amen to that.
Mhm. And honestly, I think being online first got me to that where it was more comfortable in person because of the repetitions of being on Zoom with familiar faces. To me, I think without that, I'm not sure if I would be where I am. So I think we all get that confidence from different people in different groups. So
Yeah.
no, that's interesting. Because if I would have done it in reverse, I wonder how that would have been.
Well, in my case, it happened in reverse. I was, working more in an office setting with a lot of people. I was meeting new people because people were coming and going and stuff like that when I was in Venezuela. And when I started this virtual assistant thing 3 years ago, I was actually just doing more in-person things. So even if I was, how let's see, I work in two different offices right at the start of COVID. And I was like, okay, at the beginning we were all in our little, cubicles because of COVID. We couldn't be together and all that. But there were people next to me, like very close to me. So even if I was doing my own thing in my computer, I still have people that I don't know, I was going to the kitchen for some reason and then I will see someone and I will talk to them, like, 1 meter distance and all of these things. But connections were still happening. And then actually for me, that also gave me a little bit more sense of confidence when I started doing things online, because I think that for me, online was harder. And these in-person connections that I was doing, actually, they were very encouraging to me when I was like, hey, I'm starting this. And some of my friends that were sharing the same space with me, they were like, yes, you can do it. I remember my very first interview when I started this, and they were like next to me, just like, yes, you can do it. Something like that. So in my case, in person was actually a very good thing. And then that helped me a bit more when I started doing things online.
I love that. Jamie, what
I
piece?
think the same. Oh, yeah. I just wanted to comment on Amber. Like the same thing happened to me in my career. So, like, Jamie is the one that taught me how to do online stuff. That was just 4 years ago, but I've been an auctioneer since 2003 and had that ability to get in front of people and kind of control the audience, right? And then got a chance to do presentations in front of clients and kind of the same thing, like leading the room. It was definitely a different learning curve doing it online. So I just want to throw that in there.
I have a question for you, Scott, on that. So, auctioneer, how many years were you an auctioneer?
Well, I guess we're at 22 years and counting.
Okay. So, you are used to getting in front of a group of people. And I'm assuming when you get on the chair, podium, stage,
Sure. Yep.
are you nervous?
Yes.
Every time still?
Every time.
Really?
You have to talk really fast. That makes me nervous. Yes. That they'd have to talk so fast.
It's a common misperception that auctioneers talk fast. But Jamie, to your point, so it's still I just did one in June. I got another one coming up in August. It takes me about 5 minutes to catch my breath.
Hmm.
And that's just nerves. So once I sell like 3 items, I then all of a sudden remember that, oh yeah, this is okay. I can do this. I can actually breathe while I talk. But for those first 5 minutes, like probably the audience doesn't know it, but those first 5 minutes, I'm like,
Is it like that when you
it's,
present to a live audience, like a PowerPoint? Are you also
yeah,
nervous? Okay. How
yeah.
about a virtual?
Depends on the virtual now. The first 5 minutes of Ruminate This, I feel like I'm probably a mess. But when I do the trainings that we do with the company I work for, no.
Interesting.
But
Anyway, so this
yeah,
piece of advice, I think you just defunked what I was going to advise because I have a very different experience than you. And I think that's the point. We all have different experiences. But the advice I would give to somebody who's on the fence is your biggest opportunity for growth is on the other side of your greatest fear. So lean into it as a guiding post of this is just uncertainty that's scary, and put the thing on the calendar. Step 1, put it on the calendar. So book the date, book the trip, whatever. But for me, oddly, I just taught for 4 hours straight in a live setting on a subject that more people in the room were experts on than myself. And I wasn't nervous. And I was like, wow, when did that happen? Because I was always like scared. And I'd say, at least for me, the reps that Morgan touched on earlier, the reps showed up in that moment. And I was like, wow, I don't remember when or how I got here, but putting in the time and the reps, I was concerned going into the event, but on the day that I stood on the stage, I just felt fine and confident. And I think it's cool to see that personal evolution. And so for someone on the fence, like, you have to put in the reps. You have to start scared. That's the only way to get there. Would be my advice.
you're right. And so I think like for myself, I think it's just like almost like the remnants of what used to be major imposter syndrome for me, where it's like, yeah, I'm not supposed to be here. I went to auctioneer school and I came back, competed in a competition like 2 weeks later, and I placed third. It's like, okay, there's 2 other auctioneers that were better than me and they just went to school. And so it's like I've always had this notion that there was always been somebody better. I took a role presenting to farmers and I replaced a guy that had a PhD. I sure as hell don't, right? So there was that. You're always trying to. So I think for me, it's probably part of that lingering, self-confidence thing. Because again, once you do like 2 or 3 reps, by the second slide, by the third item, by the second question of a podcast, now we're just having fun. Yeah. But to your point, Jamie, putting on a calendar, and Amber, you're actually the one that made me think of this. So an author that I like a lot, his name is Steve Gilliland. And in his book, I think it's called Finding Your Purpose, a matter of something. Finding Your Purpose, a matter of purpose, passion, and pride, or something like that. Roast me in the comments if you want. But there's a quote in there that says, most people aren't willing to take the first step. So by taking the first step, it puts you 50% of the way there.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna go down a different space with this because I was in person, I trained in person, COVID happened, I started online, and now somebody in my networking group, they work for a contracting company. They're like, we have this new warehouse space. We want to get more eyes on our new facility and our new location because we were moving from one town to the next within a 20-minute drive. But still, when you move across town, and she's like, do you want to come check out the space and use the space for free? So it ends up, so for me, it was somebody else bringing it up. and saying, I have this space. It's going to be a win-win for both of us. And that was like, okay, yes, I feel comfortable going into it, because before that, there was all the logistics of, well, what happens if nobody shows up? What if I put all the time and energy into it? What if I end up spending money on a space and not being able to cover it, or it puts me in the hole? Like all of those things. So for me to be able to do this first step, it was finding that person or that company that was like, let's just trade. This will be a win-win for both of us, which then was like, okay, I'm going to have a goal of getting X amount of people in. But at the same time, if I don't, I know that I put everything I could into it. And to me, that was like that security that I needed to kind of take that leap into something that I haven't done in years. It was kind of having that other person in your circle that you maybe don't know really well, but still encourages you and has that connection for you. And I think that's where breaking out of your comfort zone and going to in-person networking things and just sharing who you are and the type of person you are gets you so far.
And, to your point, Morgan, if you put yourself out there and put your blinders on, right? And what I mean by putting your blinders on is just go out there and talk to every single person. I promise you, you will shock yourself at the people you make connections with that you've never once even thought you might have something in common with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this isn't, and I'm not talking like a race thing or anything like that, but within, like, we're humans, we're meant to be together. And so as we get older, geez, I'm 40 now. Like, I have my people. Like, I have my group of people that I can say anything around. I can talk about wearing no pants on Zoom around. Like, it's all good. But then you go to an event and all of a sudden you don't have your people. So now you're vulnerable. So what happens at these events? I see it all the time. Like, within the first 48 hours of like a 4-day event, the birds of a feather will flock together. Like, it happens. And if you do that, great. Like, you're gonna make some good connections. But once you notice that happening, like, notice that you're actually doing that, day 3, don't talk to those people. Like, say hi to them, eat breakfast with them if you want, but then go find a different group that has already started to segregate off, that they all found commonalities, because then you're going to go learn something that is going to blow your mind. It's powerful.
So one of the things that we do in our networking group is we meet the first 3 Wednesdays of each month. So sometimes there's week 4 that we don't meet because there's a 4th week, and sometimes there's a week 5. And where it's all about taking your time to go do your one-on-ones. And your one-on-ones, they encourage you to do them in person, which is just another thing you got to put on the calendar and plan for X amount of time. But the things that you learn in those conversations are so much more meaningful than in the networking group for the 10-minute spiel or 5 minutes of, this is who I am, this is who I need help with, this is my business. Like, when you sit down, you get to learn that the person next to you, they're 100% commission based. And when we tag them on Facebook just as the business, that doesn't help them. And get to learn that they used to do corporate marketing and all this other stuff. Like, that to me just speaks volumes to everything else on how you can support that person. Because I think that's the thing, is really, I think our goal is to support the people in the room who show up to our events, or to support others that we're at the same event with, of like, hey, we have similar businesses, but like, we know we're not for everyone. How can we help each other? How can we both grow with each other instead of competing against each other? Anything else? You guys all just kept nodding.
I mean, that's I think your last two statements there, questions, like how do we not compete with each other? I mean, that is something that is so hard to overcome. And I don't know if it's just because I'm like getting old and grumpy. So like when I go and I like get involved in this like who's is bigger than mine kind of conversation, I just get right out of it because I don't care anymore. But like you see that happening, and it's not constructive to just sit there and argue back and forth of like who's more accomplished or who does this or who does that. But there are things you can learn from that about that person and then try to connect with them in a different way. Um, yeah, it's not when you're doing these things again, like you just said, it's you nailed it. It's about the connection, not the competition.
Yeah, and something that I've been thinking a lot about this is that, and I think Megan has said it before when we talk, or maybe it was in her podcast. I don't know. I just know that it was her who said it. I listen to so many people that sometimes I'm like, okay, I listen somewhere. But yeah, something that I may not be the best person to help you with this, but I may know someone who will help you with this situation. So something that I've been really enjoying about all of this in meeting new people, networking, all of this is that it happened before that I met this person and then yes, I need help with this X, Y, and Z thing. And I'm like, oh, well, I have a friend or I know someone that can help you with this. And doing these connections too is something that I really enjoy doing because I know that I'm helping both of them. I'm just there in the middle, connecting them. And that's something that, well, Jamie does very well. And that's something that I really enjoy watching her do and that I love learning from her because that's something that a lot of people don't do. And I also noticed that some people feel like, no, this is my group or this person like kind of belongs to me and they kind of like jealousy in these things. And I'm like, no, why? If you know that this connection can help these other people, just put them together. And that also expands your own network. And something that we really need to know and understand and accept and actually live with it is that our network is our net worth. And we really need to keep growing that network and helping each other because that's how we're going to get farther and farther on the goals that we want. And maybe not on this path that we were thinking that we were going to walk, but in another one, and it's actually even better. So I think that the whole thing for me, either if they're online or in person or whatever, I just love having these connections and being able to help other people, either myself or connecting with others. So that's incredible for me.
Love that. And what you said about mine and hoarding, I have so done that. Like I think it's a very human nature thing to feel the competition and like, ooh, don't share my little cool corner. It's my corner. No one knows about my corner. I've so done that. And I think
Yeah.
being self-aware enough to recognize those moments as opportunities for growth and development and like so it's weird when you say, I've seen Jamie do it so much. I'm like, whoa, I'm growing because that is not a natural thing. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
yeah, and I think this whole conversation is interesting. We're talking about events, but it all just comes down to very like human tendencies, human nature, the ability to recognize where we can elevate ourselves, which elevates others. And yeah, it's just an interesting conversation and always a good reminder.
Which then elevates the event. It all circles back, as I think we do think of the end result of the event is they get this. But really the end result is that they walk away with a friend or they walk away with a connection they wouldn't have had before. In reality, that's really what the events are, whether it's online or in person. And in person is much easier to create that, as I mentioned. If not, you got to throw them into breakout rooms, which is not something we can't do, but I think it's harder to facilitate. Online events, I think, are harder to facilitate in that way because it takes more intention, whereas they just naturally happen in person. Scott, you got anything? I saw you on mute.
I
As we kind of
don't
wrap
know.
up.
I think it's been said. I think it's been said.
Well, I thought this was fun because I think we're all kind of changing what we do and how we show up at our businesses. And I think we have where a lot of us are blended and a lot of companies and people are blended. But how do you use one frame, one platform to accelerate the other? And I think we're doing that, which is really fun, and we're all doing it in different ways to kind of see, well, overall, this is the common theme, but for each of our businesses, it looks different. So, yeah.
And I think companies, you are right. Companies are catching on. I mean, my W-2 job, we've been doing like exclusively online training, Jamie, for how long? 4 years, essentially. And again, birthed out of necessity with COVID for some connection. We're completely switching philosophies probably in 2026 to where rather than online training being supported by some in-person events, it's going to be in-person training that is supported by online training. And I give them a lot of credit that they recognize that. And it's time to just let humans be humans again, people. I will tell you, Jamie, the next vacation I take, I think my wife and I decided is going to be on the West Coast for some fishing. So
Up here.
maybe not the next one, but next year.
West Coast is the best coast.
Ah.
Not that I'm biased.
I think majority rules on this one. Scott and I are both on the East Coast. Not quite the coast, but I'm on the east side. I'm closer to the east than the west.
You're not on the coast.
I'm closer to the east side.
Coast of Lake Michigan. I mean,
yeah.
Which ironically
Awesome.
would be the west coast of Lake Michigan.
So, anything else you guys want to add before we jump today?
When are we doing this again? Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
Like a final thought, should we all just like put a pin in it in our own little unique whatever way?
Yeah, start us off.
Okay, I would say book it, find your fear, and do it. That's all I got. Amber.
Oh, crap. I was thinking about what I was going to say. Let's see. Try to think very quick. Just dare to fail. Like,
so
be okay
good.
with failing. Be okay with failing. It's going to happen, and it's not going to be the end of the world. I promise. I promise. I was afraid of doing a lot of things, and I failed in a lot of things, and the world didn't end. So you can do it too. Dare to fail. It's going to be okay.
Scott?
If you go to an in-person event, take your pants with you.
Unless you want it to be really memorable.
Yeah. You want to have the very best impression on everyone.
I think there's a lot of good nuggets here, and I really like what Amber capped it off with, because when the idea of failure is so scary that you can't move, that's when it's detrimental. But when you finally get to a point, and I'm at that point with Maplewood Suites, where like the idea of failure is so subjective that if I'm happy and I feel like we're making progress and the other owners feel like we're making progress, how the hell are we failing? So I really like that mentality, Amber, and good topic today, Morgan.
Thanks. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. My piece would be, personally, find something local in your community to go to and just meet other business owners, entrepreneurs. Like, find a local networking group, because just the connections you build in that in person, they're also typically not super large. So you're not going to be walking into a room of like 500 people. So start there, and you can always go bigger if you're
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, that's a big one in all states.
Yeah.
So with that, we will see you guys all next month. We'll stay on and pick our time, but we will stop the live stream so they don't have to watch us mess around with our shit show of calendars to find a time that works. So until next time, everyone, make sure to hit subscribe down below. Leave us some comments. Let us know what types of topics you want to hear about. And we will see you all next month.